Welcome back to Pulse on the Market. I'm your host, Jaden Brains, founder of Brains Capital. This is the show designed to help you guys stay in the loop regarding anything crypto, stocks, real estate, just the market in general, so you guys can stay up to date and make solid financial decisions. So let's get right into it for today. So the market started off poorly today. It was terrible. And it kind of scared me a little bit because I know that we are bound to see a sell-off eventually. We can't be in this euphoric stage forever with just these increases and gains. Yesterday, NVIDIA had their GTC, which stands for GPU Technology Conference, or their GTC conference, and this was huge. So at first, it was buy the rumor, sell the news type event where the stock pre-market actually dropped 2%, 3%. And it was down to lows of around 850. But in the next day, today, they came out, gave the price around 30 to 40 grand per their B100 chips. This is Blackwell is the name of their newest chip coming out. That's supposed to be the greatest chip ever created. And I mean, I believe it. They have their computing parameters are over 1 trillion, which is insane. That's never been done before. So this is huge for NVIDIA. And the fact that the chip is actually a lot cheaper than expected, it caused their stock to bounce right back. It's up to $900 a share. And it's up 2% today. So it went from down 3 to up 2. And it's up $15 a share to 900. So that's quite the swing. And it's back into full throttle on the upside. And of course it is. It's crazy. Man, I regret not getting into this sooner. I always thought, where is the top? I thought we hit it multiple times, but apparently not. It just keeps going, and that's NVIDIA for you. And so right now the indexes, the Dow's up 0.6%, NASDAQ up 0.3%, the S&P's up 0.5%, the small caps up 0.7%, and the 10-year's down 0.65%. That's a good look. We want the 10-year drop because that means that the interest rates are dropping, or at least speculation. So the Fed, they're having their meeting today and tomorrow, and we'll probably find out tomorrow about the hints at a Fed rate cut, which is anticipated. People want this, which is why the market's still up, because there is hope of a potential rate cut. Depends how well, we're doing on inflation, on the data. Last time, Powell said that they needed more data in order to make an accurate decision of whether or not to cut rates or to hike them again or just maintain them. So they were waiting on data. They needed more data. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. We could see the market sway in either direction because right now it really is out on a limb, the market in general, because if the rates have to be hiked once again, we could see the top of the market. We could see a huge pullout or a huge sell-off in the market, which would not be good for investors. So I'm kind of cautious right now. I would be if I were you. Just be a little more hesitant, more cautious, not to go all in NVIDIA right now. That would be very risky. Even though it's a solid stock and eventually it'll probably surpass what it is now, it's just that we could see a potential pullback in the entire market in general based off the news that the Fed will come out with today and tomorrow. So we'll have to see. I believe it's post-market that this stuff will drop. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. All right, news stories for today. So let's see here. Anything crazy? So Spotify, they actually had a huge number. So they paid $9 billion in streaming royalties. This is money paid out to the artists that are on the platform. So when people listen to their music, the artists get paid royalties. And this marks the highest annual payment from any retailer in the music industry. So this means that over 1,250 artists earned over $1 million each. That's crazy. That's a lot of money. And so yeah, they're very profitable. But man, they're paying $9 billion. Actually, I don't know if Shopify really is profitable. I'd have to take a peek. I believe that they're their net income is barely scratching the surface, and because they've had pretty bad years, just in regards to revenue. Let's take a look here. So in 2023, they had $132 million in revenue. The year before, $3.4 billion loss in net income. Sorry, did I say revenue? I meant net income. And the year before that, $2.9 billion in net income. So it seems to vary quite a bit. Depends on the projects they're working on or whatnot. But as of right now, it is profitable. So, and it's hard when you're paying $9 billion in royalty fees. That adds up pretty quickly. But that's the name of the game. That's their business they're in. So we saw a huge sell-off in the stock SMCI. So it's kind of interesting because they announced that They're releasing 2 million shares once again. And so this would cause the stock to drop because people don't want their shares getting diluted. That means that the EPS would drop. Their EPS is already pretty solid, so it's not going to affect it too much. And this might honestly be an opportunity to buy. I'm not saying that. That's personal opinion. But it's at $906 currently. It dropped to $94 a share today. That's around 10%. And this could be a buying point for SMCI before we see it take off if tomorrow goes well with the rate cuts. We'll see here. And yeah, so pretty big news for SMCI. It depends what they put the money into. That's huge, because if they use that money they receive from these 2 million outsourced shares, these shares that they're selling, then if they apply that and allocate that money to useful purposes and end up getting a lot more profit out of it, then shoot, everyone's EPS is going to rise. So it depends how they're going to use this capital that they are raising. All right, let's check other things out. So some interesting news for Elon Musk. So in an interview, he talked of his prescription ketamine use and the potential impact on his companies during an interview with Don Lemon has sparked controversy, apparently. So he said a little bit every other week. He uses some ketamine. If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's used to treat depression, is what I've seen from other celebrities using ketamine. But he said, hey, they shouldn't really care. He's like, he said last year they sold more vehicles on Earth than anyone, or it was something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure. I saw a little bit of the interview, or he made more money selling cars than any other company in the world. So he says, hey, you guys should mind your own business, basically. I'm doing my job. I'm working here, and we're trying to make a profit. And so he's basically saying, who cares if I'm on ketamine? All right. So U.S. home builders' confidence improved for the first time since last summer. So this reflects better demand despite high mortgage rates. So I feel like a lot of people would tend to wait out high interest rates to try and get a better one. And I feel like now they're starting to get tired. They're like, you know what? Let's just do it. And we don't know if they're going to hike them even more. And right now it could be a discount. So a lot of the demand is going up. So there's like a Wells Fargo housing market index, and that rose to 51 in March. So that's just positive sentiment regarding just house demand. Pretty big news for the Bank of Japan. They raised their benchmark interest rate for the first time in 17 years. That's crazy. So they're finally shifting away from their negative interest rate policy. I explained that on a previous episode of negative interest rates. And so they're shifting away from that range of 0 to around 0.1. Yeah, 0 to 0.1% is the range there. So this decision was influenced by a positive economic cycle and stable inflation around 2%. So their huge like Dow type index is doing quite well. I mean, they're hitting all-time highs now. And their inflation is around that steady 2%, which is good. All right. Let's see here. Nike is coming out with their earnings report. Let's see when it is. I know it's this week. So yeah, they're going to report Thursday. Analysts estimate $12.28 billion in revenue, which is down 1% year over year, and $0.74 per share, which is down 6% year over year. So Nike has been bombarded with competition with companies like Deckers, which has the Hoka shoes. And there's just a lot of people entering into the scene. And Nike, for the first time, played defense instead of offense. They were looking to cut costs around $2 billion over the next few years. And so that includes layoffs and just other ways to become more profitable as a company. So the stock dropped quite a bit after that news. It was around 25%. It just tanked. And now it hovers around $100 a share, give or take. And so we'll see how the earnings report comes out. Not good to see companies negative in year-over-year growth. But, I mean, they've been around for a very, very long time. So it's about time that we've seen competition start to sneak in there and take away market share from Nike, because they were very dominant for a very long time. Also, FedEx, Lululemon, Darden Restaurants, Accenture, Chewy, Five Below, General Mills, these are all companies reporting this week. MU will report tomorrow after market close. So they're looking pretty solid with $5.33 billion in revenue, which is up 44% year over year, but still negative 0.26 earnings per share. So still not very profitable per share, but their revenue has almost increased by 50%, which is solid. Sweet. So other than that, we got some news on crypto. So Bitcoin has dropped quite a bit. It's down to 64,000, and it was hitting all-time peaks just last week. Let's take a look here, and it was around 74,000 per coin. Now it's down to 64. But this is the world of cryptocurrency. The volatility is off the charts, and it could be very difficult for investors, especially if they don't have that long-term horizon of cryptocurrency in general. And they can tend to get paper hands and see this drop and sell immediately to protect profits, which, hey, if it drops down to zero, good for you. You secured at least something because it really does have the potential to be wiped out pretty quickly. But it also has a lot of potential to become, a lot of people are calling it legal tender pretty soon here, that it'll be used as legal tender. We'll see if that ends up happening. Honestly, that's the only real benefit of Bitcoin. Correct me if I'm wrong, but coins like Ethereum and AVAX and Beam, they all have like purposes. They actually provide just more value in the sense that you can use them. The utilization is better for other coins. Bitcoin was the pioneer, though. They were the first, so obviously it's not going to be as advanced. I'd consider it a hype coin to a certain extent, just because it doesn't provide too much value in terms of just utilization. You can't really do much with it. All right, and that'll be it for today. Pretty quick for today, and I'll keep you guys updated on the rate cuts from the Fed. This is pretty big news. We can see the market sway in either direction pretty soon here, and so I'll keep you guys in the loop. But once again, this is Pulse on the Market, and I hope I helped keep you a little bit in the loop. I will have more tomorrow, don't worry. It's been pretty busy, especially with the university school work. It's kind of killing me a little bit because I just want to do this all day, but hey, I got to study information systems and whatnot, so hopefully, I got time for both, though. All right, disclaimer, this podcast is for informational purposes only, does not constitute financial, investment, or legal advice. All personal opinions and experiences, conduct your own research, please, or seek the advice of qualified professionals. I'm not responsible for any actions taken based on the content of this podcast. It's all risky, could go to zero, who knows. And I'm not responsible for damages that may occur as a result of investments made after listening to this podcast. Could be lying, none of this could be true, and yeah, but hey, love you guys, thanks for listening up to this point. You are the best, and I will see you tomorrow.